Hello, Savvies. Welcome, welcome. I am so excited to be joining you for today's live stream. And I thought today we would just do an old-fashioned Q&A because here's the thing. It is almost the end of the year. How crazy is that? Did like Thanksgiving and Christmas and like it's cold enough to be snowing outside right now? Some of you guys actually might have gotten snow. It's like it's here. It happened, but I love it. I don't love winter. We can talk about that separately, but I love the freshness of a new year. I love I love setting big, hairy, audacious goals. I love dreaming about the next year. I love planning for it. It's just this like new beginning, fresh start. And so, with that, you guys might be having some questions going through your brain of what could this year look like for me? What has changed in the VA industry? How should I be approaching my business? How should I be pricing and packaging and messaging and marketing my services? And so, if any of those questions are running through your head, through your brain, this is the time that we are going to chat about it. So I saw a couple of questions go ahead and come in. So we're just gonna roll with it, okay? So any questions that you have as we're going through here, go ahead and just drop those in the comments below, and I will make sure to answer them for you. Now, I do want to note, if you guys have not already heard, that here in a couple weeks for Black Friday, Cyber Monday, we will be doing a massive mega sale of the Savvy system. And I'm not going to give away all the details, but this is actually going to be the last time we're selling the Savvy system in its current format. So we are going to be changing things up in January to, it's going to look a lot different. It's going to look like more like a 90-day accelerator versus the course that is there, which means don't worry if you're a current Savvy system student, everything you have access to, you'll still have access to. But as far as the content it goes, it will be shifting. So we are doing kind of a last chance to get the full course in its full format this Black Friday. So if you have ever thought about joining the Savvy system, we're gonna have bonuses. We're gonna have a major sale on it. It's gonna be like one big blowout. So if that's something you're interested in, you can join the waitlist for the Savvy system at savvysystem.com. But I just wanted to go ahead and throw that out there. You're gonna start getting emails about it here soon. But since you guys are my savvies, I needed to let you know. Okay. All right. So let's go ahead and let's start answering some of those questions that you guys have. Okay. So don't be shy. Go ahead and start dropping questions in the chat. And I love this one that we had already because this is something that I am hearing a lot right now. And I think that it's really, really important that we dissect this. I'm part of a few VA groups and some complain that the market is saturated. They've been looking for months and ready to throw in the towel. How can we successfully navigate and break through this hurdle? And I think that this is such a good question because the reality is, guys, that the virtual assistant industry is changing. And if you would have asked me this question 2 years ago, 3 years ago, heck, even last year, I would have answered it differently than I'm going to answer it today. Because I would have answered it before, like, no, like people are still like, the industry is not saturated when I'm still going to networking events and I say I'm a virtual assistant and people say, what's that? Okay, that's not the reality. Like, and let's take a moment though to celebrate that because we literally, you guys, we 10 years ago set out on a mission to make virtual assistants a known industry. If you guys don't know, this Savvies group, there's a lot of other VA trainers. There's a lot of like new people popping up. We've been doing this for 10 years and we made it a mission to make virtual assistants a known industry. And we've been pioneers in that. And I truly believe that we have done that. And that's like mind-blowing to me, first of all. And I think that it's amazing, right? It's amazing because now with it being a known industry, people can access it, right? People can actually hire VAs once they know that it's an option for them to exist. However, now, so a lot of what used to happen, right? What, like, I would say up until kind of this past year is really, in my mind, when the shift happened of there used to be, like, for you guys, for your marketing and your messaging, it used to be kind of, what is a virtual assistant and how could one really help me? That was the main barrier that you had, right? That's not the barrier anymore. There is a new barrier, and the barrier is that there are more VAs, more people. It's a more known industry, and there's actually more competition. So the question isn't as much like, um, am you know, like are people going to know about this, or are people going to want to hire a VA? It's, is someone going to want to hire me as their VA, right? And so there, and that's just one of the changes, right? Another change, and then I'm going to answer your question specifically, but one, I am finding more and more that clients don't just want just a task taker. They want somebody that feels like a strategic partner, right? And that doesn't mean you can't still be doing admin tasks. I think that that's really important to note. But I think that there is, with this shift and with more competition, there is more of a need for confidence than ever before, right? It's not like, oh, I think I could help you. You have to come in with a boldness and a confidence that, yes, I can help you. Here's how, here's what we're going to get done, right? You're the one coming in with the plan. And so I think that there's a lot of people, and this kind of answers the question, right? There's a lot of people who used to be able to just wing it. That's the truth. You could come in, you could start calling yourself a VA, never go through any formal training, never learn true marketing tactics. You could just wing it and succeed. And I think that that has changed because clients want strategic partners, which means that you need to come in with confidence. And this is what, so many of our students say when they're going through our Savvy System program is, when I'm showing up for a discovery call, people are blown away because I'm coming in with confidence and a template, and here's how this meeting's going to go, right? You're the one taking charge, you're leading. Another thing that has shifted in the VA industry is that they're like, just there are a lot of job listings, right? So you guys, if you're in our VA Savvies community, there's really great high quality jobs. If you're part of Savvy System or Savvy Vault, you guys get jobs that are just exclusive to Savvy students, right? And so yes, that is one way to get jobs. But I am seeing the people who are most successful are not solely relying on that method of marketing, right? And I'm seeing now more than ever relationship-based marketing being the key. And so there's a couple different ways that you can go about relationship-based marketing. That could be through live networking events. Yes, they're still working. I would say they're working better than they ever have been working, actually, just because people are craving community. And so live networking events, you kind of cut through all the noise. There's a lot of noise online. There's a lot of selling online, and people are so detached from everything that's online that when you meet somebody, you shake their hand and you have that connection. It's just different, right? Now there are ways to do that online as well, and those are some of the things that we teach in our programs, is how to kind of break through that barrier. But I do believe that there's a lot of people just relying on the jobs that they're finding on these online platforms. And the thing is that there's so much competition with those, right? And so, yes, you can still get them, but it's going to take a really strategic method. It's going to take you actually wowing and standing apart and learning how to not just be lumped in with the 50 to 100 other responses that they get, right? And so I think that that is another shift. And then the last shift that I'm seeing in the VA industry is that clients now have different expectations than they used to. They have expectations for how quickly and efficiently work is getting done because of AI. That's why we are coming in and inside of Savvy Vault, and even some of these changes that you're going to see inside of Savvy System, which yes, all current students are going to get access. Guys, we are adding more and more and more AI tools for you, because the reality is like it's not an option anymore. Like it's not an option to not use AI to be doing work for your clients. It's just not an option not to. And so we are equipping you guys. One of the ways is even just learning how to use it for your own business, right? Because once you learn it for your own business, then you can replicate that in your clients' businesses. But AI has really changed the expectation even for clients, where it's like, for somebody to write a 10-part email series for me, I would have expected that to take probably 2 weeks, right? Whereas now the expectation would probably be closer to 2 days. That's just reality, right? Now, does that mean that AI is taking our jobs? No, but the VAs who know how to use AI are the ones that are taking the jobs, the ones above the ones that aren't. So, coming back to your question, I know that this was a little bit of a long rant, but it's something that honestly we've been talking a lot about inside of our communities, our Savvy System, our Savvy Vault. We've been talking about it a lot in our weekly coaching calls inside of Savvy Vault. We've been talking about it. Internally, as just the virtual Savvy team, we've been talking about this a lot, and like there's no skirting around it. Like it is more difficult now than it used to be. So what are we going to do, right? And that's why we are like, so we're going to equip our people. We're going to equip our people to be the best so that they stand out among everybody else. And so I agree and this is probably so if you're in some really big VA groups, these are people who are going at it alone, most likely, right? Or maybe they're in a program that really doesn't teach them how to stand out. There's somebody that's teaching methods from like 5 years ago, right? Not teaching the AI training, not teaching them the way to actually stand out, even if you are one of 50, one of 100 people applying for a job, right? They're probably solely relying on things like job boards to find clients, which is, completely neglecting that relationship-based marketing factor. So yeah, you're going to see a lot more of that. And I think that that's where it's like, okay, how do we differentiate ourselves and how do we stand out? So it actually, it's an exciting time to me, because I think that there was like the VA industry just had this huge like surge, right? Which again was a good thing. I think that was a great thing for that surge, because now it's a known industry. But now with the competition, we're going to see that start to level out, right? Like we're not going to see more and more and more and more and more and more VAs. There's going to be people who come in and they honestly don't get the right training, don't get the right tools, don't get the right templates, don't follow proven blueprints. And so they're going to fade out. So we're going to see it kind of start to level off. That's my prediction in the next couple of years. And we're even planning on that as a team, right? Like as a company, we used to train more and more and more and more VAs. It's just like the need is there. Let's keep training more and more and more and more VAs. And honestly, guys, we're not even planning on that. Like we're literally not planning on there being more and more and more and more VAs. Now we're like stopping and saying, okay, how do we train the VAs that we have better and deeper to get better results, because it isn't as easy anymore, right? And so you guys are going to see that in our programs over the next year. It's really exciting changes coming, because instead of going wider, we as a team are just going deeper, and we're just going to serve you even more. So that's a little behind the scenes of Virtual Savvy, not what you asked for, but I hope that helps answer some of those questions of what are the differentiators, what can we be doing differently? Because yeah, the industry has changed, it is changing, but I see it as something exciting, right? I see it as like, yeah, it's an opportunity. There's a book called The Obstacle is the Way. I don't know if you guys have heard of that book, but it's essentially like, all right, this big thing that's in front of me that I'm seeing as the obstacle is actually the way to my next opportunity. And I think that the VAs who can get past this hurdle, this hump, this oversaturation are the ones who are going to be able to charge more, get more clients, scale businesses to even bigger proportions, because the ones who really can't do that are going to start to drift off. So that's my 2 cents on that question. Okay, I see some more questions coming in. Go ahead, guys. This is, if you just jumped in, I know that we've had like about 20 people jump in since I started. We are doing a just ask me anything, all your VA questions answered. So whatever is keeping you stuck right now, I like to tell people, like, here's where I am right now, and here's where I would like to be in my business over the next 3 months, over the next 6 months, over the next year, right? Here's where I am and here's where I'd like to be. What's in the middle? What is standing? Is there a practical gap standing in the way, right? There's something like, I literally don't know how to do XYZ. Is there a mental gap of like, I know what I need to do, but mentally I'm having problems with it? Go ahead and drop that in the chat, because that's what we're here to talk about today. Okay. All right, more questions. I love this. I love hanging out with you guys. You guys are like my favorite people. I don't know if you knew that. Okay. So Clara said, how can you ask your current client to refer you to other clients and offices without making your current client feel like you won't be able to give them 100%? Oh, this is such a great question, Clara. So here's the thing. The absolute best thing that you can do to get more clients is to treat your current clients really, really, really well, right? If you ask any VA that's been in the industry 5 years plus, who has a full client load, where do you get most of your clients? They're going to tell you referrals. Like, literally, test it, go and see. If a VA has been in business 5 years or longer, they're going to say referrals are their top source of marketing, right? And so that means that we have to do really, really, really great work for our clients. And so there is a certain trust and a bond that happens whenever you have that, right? And so do really, really great work, right? As your business expands, continue to do really, really, really great work for your clients, right? And there's different ways you can do that. You can do that with subcontractors. You can do that by just setting a max number of clients for yourselves. But I always pair the asking for referrals with two things: incentive and flattery. Okay, so I'll talk about flattery first. So I think the way that you approach the question is important, or the ask, I guess. And so I love approaching the referral ask with flattery, and not like not fake flattery. Maybe there's a better word for it than flattery, because like sincere flattery, right? Of saying, hey, I love working with you. Like, literally, if I could have 3 more clients just like you, I would have my dream business. And so I actually have capacity for 2 more clients. And you can say how many clients you have capacity for, right? And that's true whether it's you or a team, right? Maybe you have capacity for 2 more, and then you get another subcontractor, so you have capacity for 2 or 3 more, right? And so make that genuine. But I have capacity for 2 more clients. And to be honest, I would love for them to be just clients like you. So do you know of anybody? Does anybody come to mind, right? And so I think pairing it with the flattery, sincere flattery, is important. Let me know in the comments if there's a better word I could be using other than flattery. And then the second is incentive. So something that I'm seeing a lot of VAs doing right now, which I think is a really, really great idea, is they are baking into their packages a sign-up fee, right? And I've seen it ranged. I've seen like $100 sign-up fee all the way up to like $1,000 sign-up fee, right? It kind of depends on the type of clients that you are targeting. But I think somewhere in that like $100 to $300 range is great for a sign-up fee. What this sign-up fee does is it gives you leverage in a couple different areas. Number one, if you have a standard sign-up fee, when you're on a discovery call, it's a really great way to add some scarcity and urgency of like, hey, I normally have this $250 sign-on fee. However, because I really like you, I'd like to bring you on as a client. If you decide like, yes, I want to work together in the next 72 hours, give them some kind of a deadline, I'm willing to completely waive that, right? So it gives you some leverage there. Another thing that it can do is it can give you the ability to use that sign-on fee as a referral incentive. And so if your packages are normally the 300, 600, 1200 a month, whatever, you've decided, but you have this extra $200 sign-on fee, it gives you the ability to say, hey, current clients, right? An email or a conversation, I've added a referral incentive program. And so anybody that signs up for a package of mine, a monthly reoccurring package, then I give $100 in referral incentives. And so that is a really great tool that you're not having to take away from like your monthly package. You can literally just whatever that fee is that you're charging, or half of that fee that you're charging, you can use as a referral incentive. So I hope that helps kind of frame your question, Clara. I think that you might, in your question, if I can be a little bold, be projecting a little bit of what maybe your fear would be, right? Because the reality is, if you've been doing great work for your clients and serving them first, then that's going to maintain, right? You've built a trust with them at the point that you're asking for referrals. That's why I think it's good to wait a month or two before you ask for referrals, is because you really built that trust, right? And so if you've built that trust, that's going to carry, right? So I'm curious if someone has actually said this, or if this is just something you're thinking in your mind. And are you worried about that? Are you worried about really being able to give your clients 100%? And if that is something you're worried about, then that could be a separate conversation we could have too. Okay. Oh, so many good questions coming in the chat. Yes. I invested in Savvy System during the pandemic. Would I have access to additional courses? Yes. So, you'll have access to future updates. And, we are doing a big Black Friday sale. If you guys were late, you might have not heard me say that. We're basically retiring the current version of the Savvy System. Starting in January, it's going to be a 90-day accelerator program. And so, Savvy System students, you'll be getting info about that, but you guys are still going to get access to your whole course, right? But some of the content in that course will be retiring. And so that's why we're like, all right, let's do one big last blowout Black Friday sale of a last chance to get the course in its full course format before we move it to a 90-day accelerator. Okay. Let's see. Do you have any recommendations for learning when you don't have the finances at the moment to purchase trainings and or courses? Yeah, Brittany, this is a great question. So, I'm going to be really honest. Like we're just talking a lot about like industry training. So, here's the thing, guys. There's a reason that we are moving from a course to an accelerator, is because we are finding that so much information you can find online. I mean, that's the truth. And so when we talk about our programs, there is a huge shift away from like, look, you get all of this content. Yes, the content is amazing. It's proven. It's a blueprint. It's the templates, right? But the magic isn't as much in the templates and the training anymore. The magic is in the accountability, the job opportunities that you guys get access to, right? The coaching, the proposal reviews, all of that. That's where the magic. So when it comes to the initial content, right? Like I want to learn how to be a VA, YouTube, ChatGPT. And I'm saying that as a VA trainer, right? There's not a lot of information that you can't find online anymore. Okay. And that's where, us as a coaching program, we're like, we're switching our mindset from let's just give content to like, let's give results, right? And I think our savvies, right? I hope you guys are finding that, right? In Savvy System currently, even is that, our Facebook group, I joined a course the other day and I've asked, and it wasn't the other day, it was actually like 2 months ago. But I asked the other day a question, and I've been asking questions in that group. I've asked probably 5 questions in the last 2 months and none of them got answers. Like none of them, right? And it like blows my mind because it's like, no, if somebody joins a program, that means that like you are accountable to them, right? Like we are going to be by your side. We're going to answer your questions. We're going to get through this together. And that's what I believe our savvies feel. So, there is definitely value in something like that. But as far as like, I tell people all the time, like, you can't afford our programs, you can't afford our courses. Go consume our free content. Go over to the Virtual Savvy on YouTube, guys. I have so much free information for you guys there. There is no amount of information that you cannot find. And I do believe that you can get your first client. Many people have gotten their first client with some of that information, right? It might take you longer than if you were in a program, but heck, if it gets you to your dream, that's okay, right? It might take you a little longer, but then once you do it, then you could join something like Savvy Vault where you're getting the weekly coaching and then you can grow from there. So that would be my suggestion, would just to be consume free content. I will also say this, like, I do think that there's validity in really choosing your source, because I want to tread lightly. I don't want to be a jerk, but like there's just more and more people popping up lately as VA trainers. And when I go and I look at some of their content, I'm like, oh no, that's not what's working. You're teaching. You blew up your VA business 2 or 3 years ago. And so you're teaching things from 2 or 3 years ago, right? And so it's like, whereas we've been doing this for over 10 years, right? So we've had multiple, like we know how to adjust for the market because we've had to do it several times, right? There was an adjustment in the market. There's like algorithm changes that happened. There's the pandemic that happened. There's the post-pandemic that happened, right? And now there's the AI shift. Like we've had to shift multiple times how we teach and approach, where there's a lot of newer people who are just, oh, this one thing worked for me 2 years ago when I did my business, and they're not used to like shifting. And so I'm just throwing that out there because I keep seeing and I'm like, oh, no. Okay. So just as you're consuming content, I would really like choose one or two trusted sources, the ones that you're like, okay, these people really give me value, right? They don't hold everything behind closed doors. A lot of trainers will be like, here's the secret, but they won't tell you until you like pay. Whereas we're value first, right? Like if you go to our YouTube channel, you're going to find a ton of value on there. And when I've invested in programs, the ones that over deliver on the free content blow me away on the paid content too. So just some notes there as well. Okay, here's another question from Heidi. What is keeping me stuck? Not knowing what the actual tasks entail. Okay, so you're in Savvy System working on services. So you're about to get there. I just want to let you know, like if you are in Savvy System and if you get stuck on that, again, you have the community. So make sure you are asking for your individual services. Here's what I'm thinking, all of that. But let me just throw it out there for anybody else maybe who isn't in the program. So when it comes to choosing your services, guys, I think sometimes we get really, really stuck and locked in on like, I've got to choose the perfect services. And oh, my services seem kind of random. They're all over the place. Guys, that's okay, right? Like it's really, really okay. The very best way to start your business, to start in the beginning, this isn't like 2 years later, but if you are just starting, list out every service you can do. And it could be social media, it can be travel planning, it could be emails, it could be graphics. I think we get so worried that like, oh, these feel mismatched. That's okay. Dump every single task you know how to do. We have a blog, and my team can probably link it in the comments, of 101 services you can offer as a VA, right? And so you can go through that, choose, even if they feel really, really random. And then you're going to dump them all in a services list, and you're just going to have 3 packages, all services included, right? I have a 20, a 40, and an 80-hour per month package. That's 5 hours a week, 10 hours a week, or 20 hours a week that you can choose from, times $30 an hour, right? Boom. I've done your pricing and your packaging, done for you. That's it. Just start simple. I see a lot of people get really, really, really caught up on this step, and it's action over perfection. If you realize 2 months in that you hate one of the services, you delete it from your list. I no longer offer this service. That's okay. I had to do that, right? I had appointment setting phone calls, and I had a client who was actually an insurance agent, and I would just basically call people and remind them of their appointments. I wasn't like sales. So I was like, oh, it's not, I would hate to do sales phone calls. Like that didn't sound fun to me, but I could call and just remind someone of an appointment they've already made. Right. However, I had a 2-year-old at home and a newborn. So like I'd be like, when in the daytime am I actually going to call these people? And then like I'd start making the phone calls and the baby would wake up and there'd be crying and, Daniel Tiger or whatever. I was like, this is ridiculous. I'm not doing. And so I just took it off my list of services. I let that client know, hey, this isn't a service I offer any longer. However, here's somebody else who could do it, or here's another idea I came up with, right? Like, here's this again, leaning into like this wasn't at this point, we didn't have this option, but tech and AI, did you know there's actually these auto services which will actually be cheaper than paying me hourly to do this? And so you can offer alternatives. And so that's the kind of thing that when it comes to choosing your services, guys, just don't overthink it. Action over perfection. Just list out every service you can offer. And then the art of the pivot is you start in your business, you start going this way. And then when you realize, ooh, this doesn't really work, you pivot. You don't throw it all away. Oh, I hate this service, so I'm not having a VA business anymore. No, you pivot, right? Like, oh, I don't like that service. Ooh, you know what? This client is paying me to do their Pinterest and I love it. Maybe you add a Pinterest package on top of your general admin, and we get a few of those clients, you switch fully to Pinterest management. So often I see people just like throw away all the momentum they have in their business because they have a new shiny idea or because something didn't work, and so they scrap everything. Where it's like, no, just like these tiny little pivots is what's going to keep your business having forward momentum. Um, Lynn says, how can I get clients in a niche that I am trying to get in? Okay. The niching talk. Okay. You guys are going to love what I say. Again, I'm just like the tell it how it is kind of person. Okay. So, I see a lot of people doing this too. A lot of newer VA trainers are like, choose a niche right away, choose a niche right away. I disagree with that. I think that 90% of us should not be niching down. And so you hear that, and other people will say, well, okay, but you can charge more with a niche. You can speak to your ideal client more with a niche. All of that is true, right? I am not saying that that is untrue. And I think eventually most of us need to niche down. But when you are first getting started as a VA and you're looking for whatever is out there, right? The best thing you can do for yourself is to get a client right away, to get a client fast. There is a confidence and a momentum that happens when you get that first client win. Okay. And so I am a huge fan of getting that first paying client, right? Not a free client, getting that first paying client win as fast as possible. Do you guys know who Casey Neistat is? Like famous YouTuber, right? When he first started business, I watched a video. I think it was him and his brother were like doing video projects. It's like, did you start off with like this super exclusive niche or this or that or high end clients? And he's like, no, like my strategy in the beginning was I just said yes. Like any opportunity that came my way, I just said yes, right? Now, there is no way Casey Neistat now would just say yes. Hey, Casey, can I pay you $200 for this editing project? No way, like world famous YouTuber. Of course he would not say yes. So this is not a forever thing, but most of us lack confidence in our business. Most of us, not all of us, but most of us kind of lack that like, just that knowing that I can get clients, and we get discouraged so quickly if things don't happen quickly, right? And so I like to break down all the barriers and say, let's just get you a paying client fast. If you end up realizing after you get that paying client that you don't love this type of work, pivot, right? But so how you can get paying clients fast is by starting out general. If I see a lot of people who are like, ooh, you know what? Working in the health industry sounds really, really exciting, right? Like I like the health industry, all of that. Like I want to work with health coaches. Okay, that's super cool. And I love the idea of kind of tailoring some of your marketing or, looking for jobs in health coaching communities. I think that that's fine, right? However, if we just like, I'll ask people that and I'm like, oh, that's awesome. Do you have a lot of experience in that industry? And they're like, no. Do you know anyone? Do you know anyone personally in that industry? No. Then don't niche down there yet, right? Not ever. But in the beginning, guys, just you need to, your niche is small business owners. That is your niche. Your services are general VA tasks, right? Like that is your niche. Those are your services. Start with that. Get a client, get some confidence, get some money in your bank account, right? And then say, okay, now let me start pivoting my marketing toward being, a podcast manager. Or my services. Let me add a podcast management services. I'll niche down by service. Or let me start hanging out more in author communities because I want to eventually niche down to authors. Okay. Now, the only exception to that is, of course, if you've been building Squarespace websites for 10 years, please go ahead and be a Squarespace designer, right? That's fine. If you have been, in the real estate industry for 10 years and you have a ton of real estate connections, please go ahead and be a real estate VA. That's fine, right? But I think so a lot of us niche down too quickly where we need to just take 2 steps back, allow ourselves to be a beginner, and then move into that niche eventually. I always say, like, we don't find our niche, your niche finds you. And anyone who has niche down using this process is like, oh, now I know what Abby's talking about, right? And they're so happy that they didn't niche down right away because their niche found them, right? I think of Thais. You guys probably heard me talk about her a lot. She's probably our top student. She's going to do 2 million in her industry or in her agency this year. And she works with roofing companies. Guys, when she started her business, she had never worked with a roofing company ever before. She had no experience in that industry. She started out with general services, general admin, would take on any client that would hire her, right? In the beginning. And then she got a client who's a roofer and loved working with that industry. So then she asked for referrals. And then she started, actually marketing toward roofers. And then she eventually changed her whole business where the processes, the marketing, all of it is towards roofing. She never would have known that if she would have niched down right in the beginning. She let her niche find her. Okay. Oh, we have so many good questions. I love this. Okay, Abby, if I don't plan on opening an LLC right now, my plan is to operate as a freelancer. Do I need to trademark a business name before starting? Okay, so trademarking question. Do you need to trademark your business name? No, no, no. Don't, in fact. Trademarking is really expensive, you guys. Have you looked into how expensive it is to trademark a business name? You do not need to trademark your business name in the very beginning. However, you do need to check and make sure that your business name that you're using isn't already trademarked, okay? And so you can actually look that up. It's the USTPO trademark search. Savvy's, you have a whole lesson on how to actually do it inside of the Savvy System course, but the USTPO trademark search is the website that you'll go and you need to see if your name is already trademarked. So don't use a name that's already trademarked, but you shouldn't have any reason to have to go ahead and pay for that in the beginning because it is really expensive. Julitha, such a good question. Tips to find clients feeling a bit nervous that all these small businesses are heading the AI road instead of human help. Yeah, there is so much that can be done with AI, guys. And you know what? It's awesome. It is awesome. It is awesome for your business. It is awesome for their business. And AI is not replacing virtual assistants. Virtual assistants who use AI are replacing ones who aren't. Okay. So do you need to learn to use AI? Yep, you sure do. Are your clients going to expect more? Clients, I said this at the beginning, if any of you guys weren't here, AI has changed the way that clients view work getting done. They want work done more quickly and more efficiently. And the good news is we can get work done more quickly and more efficiently, right? Using AI tools. I think of something like, I'm like, what's the last thing that I used AI for? I was creating a webinar presentation, right? I wrote that webinar presentation 10 times faster and 10 times better because I was plugging it into my trained chat GPT. I still had to train my chat GPT. I had to train it with the messaging. I had to train it with the language you use. I had to train it not to freaking use those M dashes, the long dashes. How many times do I have to tell ChatGPT, do not use those long dashes, right? I had to take them out when it didn't anyways, because it still uses them even when I tell it not to, right? You guys know what I'm talking, right? The dreaded long dash. And I had to feed it multiple times into ChatGPT and then transfer it over to Canva, right? And then still kind of make it look pretty. And so there's still a lot of human touch that needs to happen. We're just able to get done work even faster for our clients. And let me tell you guys, we are like, we are, the AI revolution is happening, but we are just in the beginning. We are just in the beginning. So the approach right now, guys, we have an unfair advantage right now. If we are the ones learning how to use these AI tools, we are the ones learning. And there are so many clients, especially like, okay, there are so many clients, people who like have a little bit more of an old school mindset, right? They just don't want to deal. They don't want to learn it. They don't want to learn a new thing, right? So you learn it and you come in and be that one. That's not going to be the case. Like 20 years from now, it's going to be standard. Like everybody is going to be using this, but we get an unfair advantage right now to be the people leading the pack, right? We get to introduce, we get to integrate our clients into this AI revolution. And so there is like, if you can even just take a few trainings, yes, we have AI trainings inside of Savvy Vault, if you're wondering where to find them, like literally just calling yourself a VA and AI integration specialist, right? That alone, differentiator, okay? Because you are helping people get work done faster. And so it is just like, again, the obstacle is the way. Is AI there? Yes. Is AI replacing some of the menial tasks that VAs used to do? Yup. And is that an opportunity? Yes, it's hands down an opportunity for us. Good questions. Good questions, you guys. Okay. So many good questions. Great question. Any tips on how to balance trying to get clients while working a 9 to 5? I'm trying to build the habit of making phone calls before and after work along with emails, but it's hard to build the consistency. Yeah. So how do you beat overwhelm? Anybody know? Have you heard me say this before? The best way to beat overwhelm is with a plan. Oh, I love a good plan. I nerd out on plans. Guys, I am the kind of person that literally sometimes has more fun planning my vacation than taking a vacation. Like I go to Disney and I have like the time by time schedule. Yes, I'm a planning geek. And then like once I'm on a vacation, I just start planning the next one. Like that's the most fun part of a vacation for me. Trust me, I can still unwind and relax. Like I'm an Enneagram 7. I love fun, but I love to plan fun. Like there's something around planning. You need a good plan. That's what I was trying to get to. And so you have to decide you have a limited amount of time. The obstacle is the way. I'm just going to keep saying it. Okay. So I remember when, gosh, this was 2017, 2018. Okay. So I'm a mom of 2 young kids at this time. My babies are 10 and 12 now. Oh my gosh, that's crazy. But I am a young mom. I joined a coaching program with just 3 other people. It's this like year-long mastermind. Okay. So is the leader, 3 other people, and me inside of this mastermind. I am the only one who's married, the only one with kids. Week after week, we would show up for these coaching calls and we'd go around the circle and everyone would say what they did, what were their goals the last week, what did they accomplish, what are their goals for next week, right? And week after week after week, guys, I would get done 10 times the amount that these like, young 20-year-old people with not married and no kids. And they would be like, Abby, how in the world? Like, what are you doing? How are you getting so much done? Because the obstacle is the way, right? Because I had max 20 hours a week to work on my business. Like young mom, That's it. Like, I had a babysitter during these hours, and I had chosen, like, I'm gonna be a present mom, so, like, computer is closed, and I am with my children when I'm with my children, and I'm working when I'm working, and that is it. So I had given myself this container, and when I gave myself that super strict container and said, "Here's what I'm gonna get done," every night, my husband and I literally, "Here's my big 3 to for tomorrow. These are the things I'm gonna get done." That it's like the time crunch almost made me so much more productive. Where all these, like, 20-year-olds are, like, waking up at 9 and then they go to the gym and then they maybe take their to-do list and then have lunch with a friend and then all the nope, mama ain't got time for that, right? Like, I am, like, getting this stuff done, and it actually made me so much more productive. So, all that to say, you have your container, right? So when is going to be your working hours, right? I'm going to work 7 to 9, and I'm going to work 5 to 7 and 3 hours on Saturday. I also want to note that this should not be a forever thing, right? If you are having a VA business and working a 9 to 5, guy, that is a hustle. It's a crappy little hustle. So you've got to have a plan too, because just sustaining that forever is not sustainable. Please don't work a 40-hour a week job and work a 40-hour week VA business. That's not the freedom life, right? You've got to have your exit plan. So I tell people to come up with their freedom number, right? What is your freedom number? Your freedom number is the number you need to have in the bank account for you to feel great about quitting your job, right? And is that the goal? Hopefully that's the goal, right? If not, you should be outsourcing most of your client work. If the goal is to keep working your 9 to 5 and you want to build an agency on the side, I sure as heck hope that you're not doing all the work for this. Like, you need to be subcontracting that out. So you're working like 2 or 3, 5 hours max on this, because nobody should be working 2 full-time jobs. Okay. So you got to know your freedom number. Okay. It's going to be crazy for a while. It's going to be crazy. But you may decide, Cal, that, like, I am going to, once I have $10,000 in the bank, 3 reoccurring clients, and I have figured out what I'm going to do for health insurance. Once those 3 things, like, make them super specific. And my goal is to have all of those done by June 2026, right? Set yourself a goal, get that in place, and then do everything. That becomes like your number. That's the filter for everything else, right? Oh, should I also start a podcast? Nope. Oh, should I move? Nope. Oh, should I? No. Like, you shouldn't do it. This is what I'm doing. This is my goal. Here's where I'm going. And so that's my recommendation. But if you are working full time, like, just know it is going to be kind of crazy. But you're building that, like, that's why you got to have a goal. You got to have a container and a number and a goal and a deadline for when that crazy is going to end, because it'll be the light at the end of the tunnel that you need. Um, Great questions, you guys. Um, okay. Brian is asking about copywriting. So I people are like scared about the VA industry. Like, I honestly would be 10 times more scared about the copywriting industry. I'm like, how are copyright like copywriters are the ones that's not the Brian, hear me out. Please don't let me, there's still a need for good copywriting, right? But it has to change. Like, our whole mindset around copywriting has to change. And so there has to, like, I'm seeing a lot of copywriters right now position themselves that it's like, don't use AI. This is better. You're not going to win anyone over with that. Like, you're just not, right? And so I think the mindset has to shift of, like, training AI to be like, I partner with AI to make better copywriting than a copywriter ever could, and that AI copy. Like, that's the magic, right? And I mean, to be honest, that's the magic with virtual assistants, right? It's not that, like, you don't need a VA that doesn't use AI, and you don't need just AI. You need a VA that uses AI. You don't need a copywriter that doesn't use AI. You don't need just AI, right? Because all of us have seen copy that just AI writes, right? That if you don't prompt it, you don't give it, you need that, right? And so, as far as positioning, I just wanted to note positioning, that's really important. When it comes to online platforms, best to find clients, I think that it is similar, but again, you've niched down, right? So if you niche down right away, it is harder to find clients. Just telling you that. That's why I tell most people start with general VA work and not to niche down. But with that said, specific copywriting, there might be platforms for that. Um, I definitely See, I'm seeing less and less copywriting jobs on like Upwork and stuff too. Honestly, your best bet for copywriting is probably going to be high-end client outreach. It's something that we teach in the Savvy system. So high-end client targeting is what it's called. And it's basically going out, finding your dream client, and then over delivering, and basically saying like, hey, I rewrote your sales page for you and I want you to test it out. And if it gets better results, then maybe we can talk about, you know, me doing this for you in the future. That is probably the approach because again, value first. Yes, it still works, right? But you have to do it right. And yeah, you're gonna have to find people that are that don't have good copywriting. I think that's your best bet. Okay. So many good questions. We already talked about niching down. Okay, this is a great question. So I I go back and forth. I don't go back and forth. I know what I believe, but I am open to people who view this differently. So I am a huge fan of having your prices on your website or like on your social media, like telling people up front. Now, that is because I don't want to get on a call with somebody who can't afford me. Like, it's just being blunt. So I like people are like, oh, do I say it in the discovery call? I'm like, I say it before the discovery call, or at least in your intake form, like when somebody books a call for you, saying something like, my packages start at $600 per month. If we were to work together, is that an investment that you could make? Like I just like putting it out there, right? Now, you may have set packages. There are certain services that you just have to have a custom proposal, right? I was talking to one of our VAs who does event planning the other day, and it's really hard. It's not impossible. Nothing's impossible, but it's really hard to do event planning packages that aren't custom. Maybe like a summit or something like virtual events. But if you're helping them plan in-person events, it's like a 20-person mastermind versus a 500-person conference is going to like what is needed is so vastly different than that sometimes you need to just do a custom proposal, right? And so I do think that that is though the exception and not the rule. So if you know your packages, I would like number one, like if you have set packages, number one, my top choice is to put them like that they see your packages before you're even on the call, or at the very minimum, say my packages start at this dollar amount. If you're not comfortable with that, number two, do it on the call, right? But number three of waiting till after the call is not my preferred. Even if you're doing a custom proposal, I would rather get back on a call with them because you want to face their objections straight on. If you send them an email with the proposal, then all of their questions and their doubts are just happening in their head, and you are more likely to lose the client. Whereas if you can just face those objections straight on, that's going to help you so much more. That's why our students in the Savvy system we have a facing objections worksheet. We have like a whole lesson on facing objections because objections are out there, right? Like you're not going to get away from people having objections. So you need to go ahead and know what your top objections are and how you're going to face them. And it's way better to face them head on in the call than later. So that's my opinion. Other people view it differently. And I don't think this is one of those like hard and fast, like there's only one way to do it. If you find something else that works better for you, but that's just my opinion on it. Ooh, such a good question, Carly. I'm ready to hire in 2026. How do I even start? I absolutely love this question. So good. So we do have, I believe we have some resources inside of Savvy Vault for that. So I just wanted to go ahead and mention that. Or if you're a Savvy System student currently, our current Savvy System does have a lot on hiring subcontractors as well. So that might be a really good option for you because we have all the templates. You're going to need a subcontractor agreement. I'll give you like the real rough basics, but again, this doesn't cover everything. Essentially, guys, I am a huge fan of subcontracting, building a team. I love it. I think it's one of the best ways to provide a great job to somebody and to like grow your freedom life, right? You can make money when you're not working. I remember pushing my daughter on the swing and getting an invoice or like a paid invoice. And I'm like, I didn't do the work for this. I'm pushing my daughter on this swing and I'm making money. Like it was magic, right? So I'm a huge, huge fan of subcontracting. I also do believe that your rates need to be ready. So my goal for you guys is that you pay your subcontractors roughly 30% of what you're making, right? And so that means that if you are only charging $30 an hour, your budget is 10, maybe $15 an hour for a subcontractor, right? And so that's why I usually tell people to try to get their rates a little higher. Like if you're doing general VA, let's try to get you a little closer to like $40 an hour. That way we can pay, for a good a good subcontractor. 30% isn't a hard, fast rule, but 30 to 40% is what I like. I see people a lot like charging $30 an hour and they're paying their VAs $20 an hour. And it's just you're just gonna have to like have so many clients to really make any money with that. So I really don't love that model. So I think that would be the first thing is are your prices high enough that you can sustain hiring a team? At the end of the day, I like for VAs to have bottom line, right? Like 30 to 50% profit margins on your business as a whole, right? So that is after paying subcontractors, after paying for any education, like a course, after paying for your tools, 30 to 50% should be left over, right? So if I made $10,000, $5,000 should be actually like what I could pull out of the business, right? As my payment. So that's my recommendation. So just make sure that you have the finances to sustain it. So then you need to have a subcontract. You need to find the subcontractors. My favorite book, it's on hiring employees, but I think that it still is just one of my favorite books on hiring in general is called Hiring for Attitude by Mark Murphy. It's a really, really good book as far as the mindset around hiring. So that'd be my recommendation. And there's so much more. I know that's just like, again, we have a whole module on hiring inside of the Savvy system. So check that out. Like I mentioned, we are going to be having a Black Friday sale on it. Or maybe you're already a Savvy System student. I didn't check to see, but savvysystem.com if you want in on the Black Friday sale that we're going to be doing for that. Okay, let's keep going. Yes, this is one of the top things. I'm telling you, in-person networking. I joined my local chamber of commerce. It's picked up traction so fast. Highly recommend. Yeah, it's free, guys. Chamber of Commerce almost always have free events happening. You got to do it. You got to get out of that comfort zone, So good. Let's see. Sorry, I'm reading all your comments. Where can I find? So I'm seeing a lot of questions on getting clients. Here's what I'm going to do. If you don't have your first, how do I find clients, please? How do I make this transition? If you guys are not already, because I know we're getting to the end of our 1 hour time together. If you guys have not already watched this training, this is this is my favorite training this over here. I teach my 3 favorite places to find clients. And so if you've not watched the BBO training, Become Booked Out, that's where I would have you guys start. It's about an hour long, but it's on demand. So you can start it and you'll have about a week to watch it. You'll want to watch the whole thing. But in there, I even give you like some templates and stuff inside of this free training. So if you don't have your first client yet, this is what I would recommend for you. And it's free. So I could go and I could talk for an hour on finding clients, or I could just give you the training that you can watch on your own. Okay. Awesome. You guys, this has been so good. I'm trying to see if there was any major ones. My team already answered about AI. So good. This live is making me feel like I can make this transition on my own terms. I love that. Listen, guys, there's a lot of exciting things happening. Like the online world is changing really, really quick. But if there's one theme that we've probably taken away from this live stream is the obstacle is the way. But what seems like is going to be the difficult thing is probably actually the path toward you finding success. So you don't have a lot of time in your business. The obstacle is the way, right? Like you're going to be so much more productive because you only have 10 hours a week to work on your business. You're going to make that purposeful. AI is taking over virtual assistants. No, I'm going to be an industry leader. I'm going to learn AI to the point that my clients are wowed when I introduce them to AI strategies, right? Like it's a thing where you go, "Oh, this could be difficult." No, this could be my opportunity, right? And so that's how entrepreneurs have to think. It's not even an option to not have that kind of view as an entrepreneur. Entrepreneurship is no longer something you just kind of fall into and find success. You have to go into it with a mindset of like, I am going to make this work, right? I will pivot until it works, right? I'm not going to give up when it gets hard. You will fail. You will fail at some point in your business. You will have someone tell you no, you will make a mistake, you will try something and it won't work. Okay, welcome to entrepreneurship, right? Like that is part of it. And so just know, like, as you're going into this, you are signing up for something that is going to take guts, right? I think back to 2015, Abby, 10 years ago, starting her little virtual assistant business, and I was so scared. But you know what? I just had to take the next bold action. I never would have imagined 10 years that we'd have 150,000 people in our community and that I'd be, speaking to different people and there'd be, all these things. And I probably would have been way too scared. I would have been too scared to do this live stream right now, right? But I didn't have to be ready for that. Like if you're on day one, guys, you don't have to have enough boldness to hire clients. You don't have to have enough boldness to do a discovery call. You don't have to have enough, you just have to have enough boldness to do the next right thing, right? So what's the next right thing? Just the very next step. The very next step is to choose your pricing and packaging. So you might not have boldness for all of this. Do you have boldness just to choose your packages? Just muster enough boldness for the next right step. And then I did it. What's the next right step, right? You just continually do the next right thing. It's because when we worry about the stuff we're not ready for, that's when we start to get stuck, right? But you don't have to be ready for any of that. Just have enough boldness to take the next right step. We are here to empower you to take bold action for big transformation. That's what we're all about, guys. And you guys are doing it day in and day out. Thank you so much. Again, if you're part of our Savvy system or if you're on our email list, all of those things, you're going to be getting info about our big Black Friday sale we have coming up, the last opportunity to buy the Savvy system in its current place. It is retiring forever, which is crazy, but very exciting because again, changes are coming. And then if you did have questions about getting your first client, you're still kind of stuck in that beginning. What is a VA? How do I get clients? Go ahead and check out on the site, thevirtualsavvy.com/VBO for that free training. All right, guys, thank you so much for joining me again today. I will see you next time.